Good morning and greetings to you all in the love and peace of Jesus Christ. And welcome to another Plymouth United Church of Christ virtual worship service. We may be apart physically, but we are together spiritually. I like to think that we are certainly together spiritually. And please know as well that you've all been in my prayers this past week. And I know that you all have been praying for each other as well. So continue to pray for one another. Our morning scripture is from John's Gospel. We've been exploring the stories of Holy Week during Lent this year, and so this morning our story is Jesus washing the disciples' feet. That's a story that we normally only read on Maundy Thursday, so I think it's kind of been nice doing the Holy Week stories this year. On the Sunday, so we get some of these stories that we don't often get to hear, and this was one that you wouldn't hear unless you normally come to our Maundy Thursday services. So hear now and listen for how God is speaking to you through these words of John's Gospel. During supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." And Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "One who is bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you," for he knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." And after he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. And so if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." And here ends the reading. And thanks be to God. Well, I probably don't need to say this, but I will. It's been a weird week in Eau Claire. And not just in Eau Claire, but everywhere, but certainly feeling it much more around here because this is where I live. So much has happened so fast this week with changing conditions and new rules about physical distancing and how the safer at home. It's been quite a ride this last week, and I feel like I have whiplash with conditions having changed so much and making adjustments one day, kind of looking toward the future, and then the next day we get a new mandate comes out or something, and then what was done the day before is sometimes got to be rescheduled or rethought. New things to do, and I feel like I have whiplash, and it makes me wonder what our experience has been this let's say the past 2 weeks. But it does make me wonder if Holy Week for Jesus and his disciples felt like this kind of a whirlwind. Not because of a pandemic, of course, there was not one in Jerusalem at the time, but with all the tens of thousands of people coming into Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover and the tensions between the Roman Empire and the Jewish people and just all the stuff going on with Jesus, it was a busy and a harried week. And if it was, which I imagine it was, then it could also be that for Jesus and his disciples, having this last meal together wasn't just about getting together for a meal because they were hungry. They weren't getting together just because they needed to put food in their bellies to go on, um, and not just about celebrating the Passover. But I wonder if Jesus was intentional about finding this upper room, this place for them to have dinner by themselves, if that was an opportunity to disengage from the whirlwind, to put a stopper in the busy, so that Jesus and his friends could have a night together that was calm and serene, a night of conversation and normalcy. An intentional framing. If you think Jesus maybe putting a frame around the 3 or 4 hours, however long the supper took, kind of putting a frame around it and saying, in this time, we do not work. We do not worry about tomorrow. We do not worry what is outside the walls. We do not, maybe if it were today, we do not bring our phones to the table. We do not check our emails tonight. We're going to turn off the TV. We're going to stop buying things, stop producing things. We will slow down and focus on one another and focus on these hours together. And in some ways, I think that's part of what maybe not the intention of this safer at home mandate is, but that is one effect, except instead of framing it for a few hours like Jesus did with this last meal, it's a framing that could be weeks, maybe even months. We just don't know. A kind of framing to say, in this time, we slow down and we focus on one another. Focus on our relationships. Focus on what truly is important in our lives. Now, I realize not everyone gets this time as free time. Our doctors and nurses are still out there on the forefront taking care of people and even putting themselves at risk. The people working the grocery stores or the people working in the fields and on the farms around the country that send their food here, they're still working. The plumbers, the garbage haulers, or police, or firefighters, military, all those folks are still working and might not have as much downtime, perhaps as some others of us are going to be able to get. And a number of people are still working, even though they're working at home. I'm doing most of my work now here at home, but still, this is a time in which that social expectation to be busy is gone. That pressure to be busy is gone. It's kind of okay now. It's become okay. And it feels kind of weird to have such a clear calendar. And for some people, it's a little scary, a little anxiety producing. What do I do with my days if it isn't scheduled out for me? But we'll get through it. It's okay. Take this time as a long Sabbath, giving us time to spend with our family if we're at home with family. Give us time to catch up on our reading, our household projects. I've seen many of you are doing household projects, cleaning the garage, cleaning the basement, doing some rebuilding, redoing of things in your home, or going through and taking away the stuff that you realize you don't need, that you can maybe then bring to our thrift sale later on. It could be a great time to take up a new hobby. Make phone calls to the friends that you don't talk to enough, those friends that are maybe not the real close friends, someone you like to stay in touch with, but maybe just often a little too busy to give them a call. It's a good time. We're not busy. Give them a call. Like I said last week, think of all those times that you said to yourself, gosh, if I could just carve out even a couple of months, here's what I would love to do. Now's the time. You have it. Stay connected to those people, even if you can't do it physically. Do it by the phone or by video. Friday night, some friends and I had a virtual cocktail and a dinner party, and these are all people in Eau Claire, but you could certainly do this with people from all around the world. 6 of us got together by Zoom, the video conferencing system, and we said let's make it an occasion. So we put on our tuxes and our fancy dresses, and we chatted for an hour over cocktails, and then we ate whatever dinners that we had made for ourselves, and we told each other what we made, and then after we were done eating, we played an online game that was hilarious and fun, and it was just so nice. About 3 hours to just talk, conversation. We weren't physically together, but that's okay. You have the time. Take advantage of it. I think of this foot washing story of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. I've been reading the story for probably 30 years, over and over, at least once a year. Sometimes, and it's a story I often think of. But one thing I'd never thought of until now, being sort of sequestered at home and thinking about time and slowing down, I thought about just the slow process of washing the feet, which had not ever occurred to me before. It would have taken Jesus some time to wash all of their feet. I thought Jesus could have gotten, maybe just instead of a small basin, could have gotten a big, large basin and filled it with water and said, all right, we need to wash our feet. Let's all do it together at the same time so we can save some time and get to dinner. Or he could have put the basin by the door on the way in and just told people to wash their own feet as they come in, because that would be faster and more expedient. But he didn't. He had his own basin. He put a pause on being efficient. And he didn't worry about anyone's possible impatience as he slowly, methodically, one by one, washed the feet of his disciples. And that's not something that you want to rush. That's an act of incredible intimacy and real love. You want to give it the time that it needs, not do it too quickly. Let it last. Do a good job. It's an act of just true service to another person. That's a very kind of low-class position to be a foot washer. And here, Jesus does it at least 12 times. For all 12 of his disciples, and possible could very well have been other people in the room as well. Doing them one by one, taking as much time as is needed for each one. Imagine you've been invited to a dinner party and you arrive and you come through the door and they take your coat and you're ready for a drink, or at least and there should be some hors d'oeuvres there, but the host says, no, before any drinks come out, before any hors d'oeuvres come out, I am going to wash all of your feet one by one. And no one eats or drinks until we're all equally clean. Enjoy the wait. We're being asked to wait, and in some ways we're given a gift of being able to wait. So I say lean in to this rest time. Lean in to this downtime. Lean into this sacred time, Kairos time, God's time. God's time that is the Sabbath. Now, our Jewish brothers and sisters have been honoring Sabbath days for millennia, using that day to connect with their family, connect with God, to not make stuff, to not buy stuff, to connect with the people around them and to build their relationship with God. It came as a gift. After hundreds of years of slavery, God says, take the Sabbath day. For you were once slaves, now you don't have to work all the time. What a gift. What a gift it is to be forced to slow down. It's unfortunate we have to be forced to slow down. The commandment says, honor the Sabbath. Pretty clear. We're not very good at it, which is very sad. But now now we can honor the Sabbath and honor what may turn into be a rather lengthy Sabbath. I hope it's not too lengthy, but we just don't know. And there is in the Sabbath, in the Sabbath time that we're apart, also is oddly a way of loving our neighbors. Jesus said after he washed their feet, do as I do, right? Love one another. We are now loving our neighbor. And this sounds really weird to say, and I probably wouldn't normally say this, but these are weird times. We love our neighbor now by staying away from them. I don't know. Normally I wouldn't say that, but this is not normal time. We're now in Lenten time, Kairos time, God time, which is a time in which we can notice that even though we are in a pandemic, let's say humanity is in a pandemic, there's a lot more to this world than just us. I look out my windows, all the trees in my yard are budding and have been for a number of days. Their leaves are just about ready to explode. The birds are returning. They've been building nests. I have a big drainage area right next to my apartment, and the frogs in there have been very noisy all day today, and I've heard them occasionally even in the days before. They're out there singing, looking for mates and whatever else it is that they sing about. And I've noticed the sound of the traffic on Claremont, much less than normal. I don't hear as many police sirens. And I'm not too far away from a fire station. Not been hearing as many fire truck sirens either. Families are going out for walks together. Neighbors are checking in on neighbors to make sure they're okay, or to bring food, or just to say hello. Some beautiful stuff that we too often think we're too busy to do. And yet when we do it, we feel wonderful. And we're so thankful for it. And we do want to stay connected. So here at Plymouth, we're going to be trying some things to stay connected with one another. One is through the Facebook page. I've been posting things there, and that will continue. Also, something new that I'm doing. The church has a Zoom account for the video conference Zoom system. So I'm going to start offering some video conference gatherings. I'm calling Coffee and Conversation. This will be in the newsletter that goes out in a couple of days. I just randomly chose a couple of days and times. We'll see how they work. They can be adjusted if need be. But for now, I'm thinking Tuesdays at 9 a.m., and that will start Tuesday, 2 days from now. Tuesdays at 9 a.m., Thursdays at 1 p.m. No agenda for these, 1 hour long, coffee and conversation. Grab a cup of coffee, grab your tea, whatever you want. Join the video conference, and that's just a time for us to talk to one another, whoever calls in. Like I said, no agenda, no plan. It's just some fellowship time, very much like it would be on Sunday morning, sitting around the table before worship. The conversation is whatever we bring with us. I'm not looking for us to talk about anything specific, no guided conversation, just a chance to hear each other's voices, see each other's faces again, and have some conversation. And it's also possible to just call in on your phone. You won't get video on that. You can get all the audio, so even folks that don't have computers can still join in. So I don't know how many are going to be interested in this. We'll see. We'll start it out this week and see what happens. Like I said, I just took a guess at those 2 times, totally random. But once we get talking about stuff, maybe we'll find that we need different times. We can adjust, we can add, we can delete. So much flexibility here that we can do. And there are other things we can do with the video conferencing abilities. If you have any ideas, let me know. Take a look, watch our Facebook page Tuesday morning before the meeting. I'll put out the the link, how to get into the conference system. That'll go up early in the morning. Might even just put that up on Monday. So if you don't have Zoom installed on your computer, it will install automatically. Just click the link. It'll guide you through. It should be super easy. It's not any software you have to download and then install yourself. The computer just kind of does it. But if you don't have it yet or haven't used it, it might be good to do that a little bit before. Normally it's only a couple of minutes. Sometimes it might take you 10, 30 minutes to figure it out. So look for the links on our Facebook page. I'll also continue posting prayers and other things as I have to the Facebook page. So keep looking for those. Someone last week suggested maybe I could do some daily videos, little inspirational notes, and I think that's a wonderful idea. So I'm going to try to do that. I can't promise they're going to be daily, but I will get up as many as I can. I think trying for every day or 5 times a week or something, I think it'd be really nice. Just another way to stay connected. And also for those people in the congregation that don't have computers, we've also thought about them. So they are getting sent in paper form through snail mail. We're sending them the liturgies that I'm posting to the Facebook and along with some other prayers. So even our members that don't have computers will still be getting the same liturgy that you all are getting. So, and they'll get that ahead. So on Sunday morning, we can all kind of be doing the same thing, even if we're all doing it at different times. And also, please continue making your offerings to the church. Our ministry goes on, even though I might be working at home a lot, and all of you are doing things at home. The quilters have taken quilts home. The other ministries that we do continue. So please, you can send your offerings to the church. Still going over there to check mail and do that. So please do remember to continue to give, because our ministry is continuing in this community. And also, I think one of the most important ministries, and I've been hearing from people, is that you are calling each other and checking in on each other. And that is really good news. Thank you for staying in touch with each other. So thank you to all who have been calling and keeping contact with one another. That's so important. So I wish you all a blessed Sunday and a blessed week in this time apart, and blessings to you all, and may God watch over you in this time apart until we meet again. Amen.